What a great day for me. Woke up to a phone call from Greg Penner and did not expect that. And extremely humbled and honored to have this honor. It's, I didn't even dream about these things when I was playing quarterback at Tulane. Never thought about defense, but I got to say that it's a little bittersweet that I can't call my defensive coordinator, who was a coordinator for 20 years here, Joe Collier, almost like a second father to me. Was there the whole time that I was there, and he's the one that put me at corner, and then free safety, and just was the architect of one of the best defenses in pro football. And I am thrilled to go in next to names that I have admired and played alongside, and just to be considered in that same breath with those other players. Steve Atwater's here. I tried to call him this morning to thank him, and I had call failed. I was calling the wrong number, so he gave me his real number. So anyway, it's an incredible honor, and I got my family here, my beautiful wife Cindy, my daughter Natalie, her husband Trent, and some grandkids, and one of our other kids is out of town. His whole family is on vacation, so we called him this morning. But I had to hustle up here and get out to practice, and so quite a morning. And but just watching the team, and they got a lot of energy out here, more than I've seen in a long time. And hey, what can you say? I'm thrilled.
Steve, you played quarterback and got the interception record. Did playing quarterback maybe help you?
It definitely helped me. And subconsciously, you're doing things, you see things that quarterbacks are doing when they pump fake, and you've done that 100 times or 1,000 times, and your anticipation is so much better having done it. And so it definitely helped me. And I think it helps with hands, too, because you were handling the ball all the time as a quarterback. And so it was definitely a benefit having played quarterback, especially when you get to free safety. And I played corner for 4 or 5 years and then moved to free safety. And so it definitely helps.
How do you feel about going in with Riley, Gradishar's getting in the Hall of Fame, reunion 77 team, and all that 77 flavor?
Hey, I love it. It's a sweet time for us as teammates, and there's a lot of other teammates that could be in here, could be standing up here, and I just love the people that I played with. And I told the team today, I said, when you play for the love of the game, you don't play for honors. You never think about this moment like that. But when you play for the love of the game and the love of your teammates, some amazing things happen. And if you're persevering enough, you will catch that lightning in a bottle that happens from that. And so I'm thrilled about my former teammates, and that I get to be in with some of them. And it's a big 77 celebration. Riley, we called him the judge for a reason. He was judge and jury when he caught a pass. He would punish a defensive back. We gave him that nickname, and he was a vicious tight end, as well as a great blocker and pass receiver. So I'm honored to go in with the judge and the other teammates. I just wish I could give Joe Collier a call. I called him before this last Super Bowl, and I would call him often, and all the players that we played with, they loved Joe Collier, and he was an incredible coach and man, and got the most out of us. And he's just a special man. And I just wish that I could have, after the 9 o'clock call with Greg, gotten off the phone and said, Joe, another one of yours is in. And so I want to thank him and the rest of the coaches, but mainly Joe Collier, for taking chances on a lot of guys and putting them at new positions.
As time has passed, do you have a greater appreciation of what a watershed moment that 77 season and those playoffs were? Because when you look at moments in sports in this, Denver and the state,
Yeah.
kind of all goes back to that as legitimizing Colorado as a professional sports.
Yeah.
Denver as a pro city.
I think the older you get, the sweeter it is, and you realize that you were part of the beginning of championship football here that we've come so accustomed to here, and it was a special time in Denver history, and it can't be replaced. It was mile high magic. It was magic here. Yeah, I've never seen such a rabid group of fans, and finally something came to the middle of the country, and they had to pay attention to us. And of course, we had home field advantage. We got to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the middle of their 4 Super Bowls, right in the middle. We got to beat them at home, and we got to beat the Oakland Raiders for the AFC Championship and a chance to go win a Super Bowl. And so, just a special time. And we had a special group of men. And at that time, free agency, there was no free agency. And you played with guys, 10 years and stayed a long time. So you built these connections with people, and tremendously important in building team chemistry is to have that continuity. And I do know this from watching New Orleans, being from New Orleans, my wife and I both, and watching Sean Payton all these years. I was always rooting for New Orleans, being a New Orleans kid. And I watched him, and I knew once we got him, he's going to right the ship. It's just a matter of how long it takes, but he will not tolerate mediocrity. And that starts a culture that these players will come into, and there's going to be a winning culture here.
When you watch practice today, could you see that culture?
You can sense the energy and the liveliness of a practice. And I was thinking, this is just OTAs. The real stuff hadn't even started. And these guys are jazzed up. They are ready to go. So a lot of youth and a lot of energy. And so, you pray that the injury bug stays away, and you get through. And I think they're going to build a great team again.
Steve, when you go into the Ring of Fame, well, Randy had said when he's going to the Hall of Fame, he's going in individually, but he's representing all the guys he's with. Does it kind of feel the same way for you when you go up to the Ring of Fame?
Yes, it does. I think of guys that could be standing up here: Barney Chavis, Reuben Carter, Bob Swenson, who's my partner in real estate for all these years, close-knit friends, but great football players. And Reuben Carter on the voted nose tackle of the decade on Sports Illustrated. These guys were great. Barney Chavis, an anchor in that Orange Crush. Bob Swenson, the most underrated strong side linebacker in the NFL for that decade. And that's not by me, that's by Pro Football Writers. And so we played against a group of great guys, and I want to thank guys like Tommy Jackson and Dennis Smith and Billy Thompson, Barney Chavis, Reuben Carter. Lyle's no longer with us, Alzado, but all of my teammates that I've played with, and of course Louis Wright, Bernard Jackson was free safety there, but Mike Harden, Dennis Smith, and just an exceptional group of men, as well. And so that's the biggest honor to me, is that you're part of a group, and there's other guys that could be standing up here. So I love that.
Steve, when you talk about the surprise, like the Hall of Fame process is kind of straightforward. Randy knew, and maybe he's getting in, maybe he's not. Because this process has changed over the years, because how surprising is it when you're maybe not thinking about, when's the Ring of Fame going to be announced?
Yeah, and especially with, you have new ownership, and I'm so appreciative of Greg and Kerry Penner, and just the thought process that goes in this. And I gotta thank Mike Shanahan, Dave Logan, Steve Atwater, Jim Sacamano, and any other, and Greg Penner as members of the board or the committee that voted this. I mean, there's a lot of guys that can go in this Ring of Fame. We've had championship football here for a long time, and there's a lot of guys. There's guys out there on that field that one day will be up for that. But you don't play for honors. You play for the love of the game and the love of teammates. And so you have some good fortune. You're blessed with injuries or lack of injuries, and those things you have no control over. So I'm thankful.
Sorry, of all those interceptions, is there a favorite? Is there one that sticks out?
Yeah, Damani Leach asked me that, and I say 2 plays stick out. One was against Seattle. We were playing for the division championship, and I was playing free safety at the time, but Joe Collier used to, since I played corner for 4 or 5 years, he'd line up the safeties and we'd play man across the board. And I did not like it in particular because I had the slot guy, and he can run out, he can run across, he can run everywhere. And I'm like, I hope the blitz gets to him because we're going to blitz. It's an all-out blitz. But we had a little key that Seattle would call, they'd do an automatic audible, and when the receiver saw a blitz, he'd just do a 5-yard hitch. And I said, I'm sensing this is coming. And from 12 yards deep, I took off running when the blitz happened, and he did that little hitch, and he threw the ball, and I caught it going the other way for a touchdown, and that was special, but probably no more special than my very first game at corner. Joe told me the starting corner, Calvin Jones, got hurt, and they're going to try me at corner. And he lets me know, I was playing free safety at the time, not starting. I was backup. This is my rookie year. And he says, you're going to start against Dan Fouts and the Chargers. And I'm like, okay. At corner? And he said, and he goes, by the way, he's going to come at you. He said, you're a rookie. Louis fairly established, even though he's not going to go at Louis. And I was like, whew, okay, nothing like a little pressure, but by the grace of God, I got 2 interceptions in my very first game at corner, and I remember Joe saying, that's your position. Game ball, and we won that game, and I was like, whew. It very easily could have been 2 touchdowns the other way. Dan Fouts and those receivers, they were great. And so things happen for a reason, and I'm thankful.
How hard do you think it'll be to break your team interception record?
I I was hoping Justin Simmons would break it, and he's a guy as a person, as a man, as a player, great man, and great family. And if anybody would do that, but I'm not in control of that. But and people say, oh, with free agency, it's not going to get broke. It'll get broke, maybe. It's records are made to be broken. There's not a lot of them that last, but I'm just I'm thankful. I'm just thankful.
You had a chance to have a career that started before this team had been a playoff team and ended kind of with Pat Bowlen owning the team, the John Elway era, all that kind of. How did things change for the Broncos in the course of your decade plus in the NFL?
Well, for the Broncos, it was a lot of change. My first year was John Ralston, and he drafted most of that or all of that Super Bowl team. But he got fired, and then Red Miller came in and took that team to the Super Bowl my second year. And then Red coached for 2 or 3 years, and then Dan Reeves came in. And the ownership changed. It went from Phipps to Kaiser and then to Pat Bowlen. And the greatest thing about Pat Bowlen was he was going to do what it took to win. And he was gonna do what he needed to get the players. It was win. He wants to win. And that was the biggest culture change. In the NFL, the teams were, it was like, I want to say that they sold the team for into 30 millions to Kaiser, and then Kaiser sold it for into 80 millions and to Bowlen, and then now you're talking billions, $4.5 billion, and so that's changed. quite a bit, and but the culture was when it was always there, and it just got ramped up, and so. We're thankful that we have the Penners. I think they're a great ownership group. They got the resources. They want to be the best. They want to be the best at whatever they can do to make this the premier franchise and lift it even to greater heights.